My podcast family, welcome back to another episode of Knowing is Knowing. I appreciate you all tuning in, man. As always, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite audio platform, also on my YouTube channel. Either way, much appreciated. Share it with a friend. Any love and support is appreciated. If you're new to the world, to the journey, what exactly is Knowing? It essentially is a podcast that is dedicated to self-improvement, purpose, enlightenment, deep conversations, deep, meaningful conversations, just a bunch of questions around the world that I like to ask myself and hopefully turn this into a dialogue with you all along the way. My goal is to make this a community, to make this a huge community full of people all over the world connecting in different ventures to better understand themselves as people, but more importantly, to just better understand ourselves, be better individuals in the world. So welcome. This is episode 2, season 2. Before we get started, my boy from middle school, my dog Brandon, I'm sorry for using your government, but Brandon Malik, I like to say. He mentioned in my first episode I had a lot of dust on the mic, and if you know about how mics work, I mean, keep it for a while. Either way, man, I'm trying to clean it up, so hopefully it's good for your standards, man. But also want to say to you personally that I am proud of you and your journey as an artist, man. I've loved to see the inspiration and the consistency, man. So please keep doing what you're doing, man. I've been seeing it from a long way, but I believe in providing flowers to people, not for the simple recognition of me doing it, but also, just recognizing whether I talk to you or not, that I see the work that you're doing, man. So shout out to all my creative people out there, man, that's constantly doing some great things. Shout out to my brother Malik, man. Congratulations on your son. I'm super proud to talk to you when we have a chance to connect. Definitely a great moment to see you transform into a father, man. So I'm proud of everybody that's close to me or I don't talk to. I see all the time. I just want to say, love y'all, appreciate y'all, man. But let's get into it. So today's pod, man, what we're going to talk about today. Today's pod, to me, as we are going into January, I think it's important for us to really pay attention to ourselves and our goals and the things that we're truly looking for. At the beginning of the year, we have all these goals, we have all these desires, we have the vision boards, maybe we're doing other superstitions like eating grapes underneath the table, running out with the suitcase, trying to manifest entirely, all these things that I do believe that are impactful, no matter how you look at it, no matter your viewpoint. I think they are very, very great for whatever it is that works for you. Now, with that being said, there's also a caveat that we have to admit that just solely asking and desiring and manifesting and doing these different superstitions does not necessarily create this dream state that we want. The biggest thing I think we have to understand, and what we will talk about today with my book, Renew, which is now out, a little quick plug, appreciate all the support, is embracing transformation. So in the beginning of the book itself, I do talk about that in the beginning, as I mentioned, the journey. And I think for me, embracing transformation during that time when I wrote the book was in a very, very dark time, just going through a very extreme situation and just trying to find myself out of it. That's kind of the whole origin of Renew, is to find yourself again. What do you do when you feel lost in certain spaces? And the biggest thing when it comes to change is that we do not necessarily need to have a date alone to determine when we need to change, if that makes sense. So like I mentioned, I know January 1st is usually the beginning catalyst for wanting to desire change, but the thing is we have to make the change by making a singular choice. It's not about the date, it's not about the month, it's not about the time, it's not about the year. It's about making that singular choice and wanting to change. And also envisioning yourself, which goes into the manifestation, other things, envisioning yourself already as that person. Now that is extremely difficult, and I am not sitting here telling you that I am a pro, because I am not. The two things that I've worked really well with is detaching myself from a lot of things, which I think sometimes people view as a nonchalantness. To me, I look at it as the world. A lot of things in my world are out of my control. Most things in my world are out of my control. The people who come in and out of my life, what's going on at my job outside of what I can control, what's going on with this that's outside of my control, all those things, they all play a role. But what I can do is envision myself already in these states that I desire to be in, the person I want to be, the things that are required, I feel like is another thing that's important that we need to talk about. It's not necessarily, when it comes to the change, it's not about changing itself. It's understanding what is required to make that change, and also understanding the level of discipline and true habit breaking measures we have to take to make that change, because change comes with singular steps. There's 365 days in the year. There's 24 hours in a day. Some people say 25, and that's another conversation, depending on how you view it. But the biggest thing is that we have to recognize the small steps that are required to making changes. Change is not massive. It does not happen in a overnight hall sweep. Even if your life changes drastically in a good or bad way, you still have to take those small steps to maintain that change. Because what typically happens as we go into these new changes of habit, we start off hot. We start off with all the motivation that we need. We start off with all the energy, the inspiration, all that. And this, again, as I'm saying this right now, I am also applying this to myself this year. I have paid attention very well of my habits and my pros and my cons. One thing I like to say is I'm a relatively dedicated person for about 3 to 4 months. And then after that 4th month hit, I have hit a wall in every level of my life. And me personally, tired of hitting that wall. Now, hitting the wall isn't necessarily a bad thing, because consistency does not mean it has to be 120% every single day. Some days it's 10%, some days it's 5%, some days it's 50, it's 75. The overall thing with consistency is more so maintaining a stride in that direction. Because again, there's so many things inside and outside of our life that is out of our control, that all we can do to really be successful in what it is we're looking for in our own life is to simply show up. I think what we tend to do sometimes is we idolize people in spaces that we envision ourselves being in without really recognizing what they did to get there. I think, the overnight celebrity, the 15 minutes of fame, like those thoughts have happened for so much that I think our mind cannot logically process the actual steps that person made to get there. I tell the kids that I personally work with all the time, man, there's so many steps that those people had to take, so many sacrifices that they had to make in order to get there. And for us to get there, we have to recognize the sacrifices that are required. And again, what it means to sacrifice is going to vary. Some people, they have to not talk to anybody to focus on everything. And I would even challenge to say that sacrificing to the point of losing a lot of people to reach a goal, I do not think is beneficial in the long run. I think it depends on whatever your actual goal is. There's periods of times where you have to remove yourself from people and to get to a goal. But the thing is, though, then when you get back to, once you reach that level of status or achievement, you now have to potentially go back to where you start to rekindle certain things and things like that. So when it comes to those changes, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to change? What is the reason for you want to change? What is the price of wanting to change? Because everything comes with a price. What is it makes you think that this change is beneficial? I think, in our time today, as self-development is talked about, and we watch, you got the clips of motivation and everything else, which is great, and we emphasize self-love and self-accountability and self like it. But at some point, there's only so much of self that we can pour into in order for us to really recognize that we still need other people. They always say, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. If you want to go high, and as high as you can, you go with a team. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind, is that it isn't about getting somewhere alone. It's about getting places with people that are going to help you be better every single step of the way. It's the hardest thing to do, but it is something that I think we have to continue to know, is that transformation is endless, and it all starts with a singular choice on wanting to make that change. And guess what? You can do it today. As you're watching this video right now, or you listen to this podcast right now, you can sit here and make a declaration to yourself and say, today, I am going to change this part of my life. I'm going to change this part of my life, and then go from there. There's been studies that show that when you make a massive New Year goal, you're less likely to succeed at that, because your mind has not fully registered what really required to get there. That's usually why most New Year's resolutions stop after the 21-day mark, because our minds you're kind of going cold turkey from the habits that you've already implemented in your life or your way of life. And our brain is wired naturally based off of comfort. And as soon as we feel a layer of uncomfort, we're going to go back into that state at some point. We're going to get burnt out. It's just, that's the grind of the journey itself and transformation. It will have ups and downs. You'll regress, you'll progress, but as long as you stay consistent in that, you'll be the best. So I appreciate you all as always. This was great. My goal is to keep these under 15 minutes at most, just to get you through your day as you think. If you haven't already, please make sure to check out my new book. I would truly appreciate it. I think it's good. Some people have given me better advice, or not advice, but better feedback than I give myself. But I do think if you want to start off the year on a good foot, it is less than 60 pages. It is probably the quickest read you'll read this year. I think it gets straight to the point, but there's other aspects of the book that I will get into in this season. So again, today was about embracing transformation, recognizing why you want to change, why you want to change, understanding the process that comes with changing, and accepting everything that comes with that. So with that being said, I appreciate you all. I love you all. I will see you all soon. Until next time, peace.